Hello and welcome to the Supreme Leadership Summit. I'm your host, Rachel Abba, and I'm a Supreme Guide and mentor to highly intuitive women. And I'm in the business of supporting highly intuitive women to become bold and feel seen and liberated to step out into the world and create tangible success for themselves on their terms. And with me today, we have our featured expert of the day, Marian Balogun, and she is a powerhouse. So I'm going to read her just a little excerpt from her bio. And as part of her empowerment journey, Marian Balogun became a mental health advocate to help increase women's inclusivity. She published The Different Faces of Narcissism, which recently ranked #1 on Amazon's abuse and self-defense ebook category, educating individuals about psychological abuse. Now, coming from a public service background, Marian was inspired to extend her passions and careers to the marketing, communications, and business industry, as she's known for her meticulousness and interpersonal skills, which have been emphasized by her clients. Now, Marian went on to become the founder of Power Up Your Brand Consulting, a marketing communications company that specializes in public relations, event planning, thought leadership, and brand management. So, Marian, welcome to the Supreme Leadership Summit. We feel so privileged and so blessed to have you with us. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much, Rachel. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So what I want to dive into, and, I wanted to leave that, that depth of your experience for you to share it. And I didn't mention it in the bio because I wanted you to actually speak on, your personal experience with, toxic relationships and how you've been able to go from, being victimized and being, violated, to emerging as an Amazon #1 best-selling author and telling your story and speaking your truth. So please share a little bit more about your background and also how you've come to this point in your work.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Okay, so my name is Marian Balogun. I'm from Nigeria, and I moved to Toronto in 2019. And some of the reasons why I moved is I was basically stuck. I was stuck in where my life was as of then. I was going through an emotional divorce. And then because I'm from Africa, in my culture, they frown against divorce. But at the end of the day, I needed to move on. And I felt, a divorce and moving on will kind of help me begin my healing. So that was one of the reasons, among others, that made me decide to go somewhere else and begin a fresh start. Okay. While I'm still introducing myself, I'm a marketing communication professional, and I started my career in the marketing industry in 2012.
Yes.
And so I have about 10 years of experience. And what excites me about that industry is the fact that the collaboration with a variety of creative-minded people and the kind of inspiration that they share. The inspiration that I got from the industry really forced me to kind of push myself creatively, to which then now opens more opportunities for me to grow myself.
To level up your game.
Exactly. So one of the reasons why I decided to choose that industry is there's a lot of paperwork and it's very time consuming, but I love the industry so much. It's
beautiful.
It keeps evolving, and
yes.
And very exciting.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
because go ahead.
So and I recently became an author. The name of my book is The Different Faces of Narcissism.
Yes.
How to recognize, neutralize, and protect yourself from toxic people disguised as friends. And
Ooh.
sometimes I add family, because trust me, it's not only friends, right?
Oh
Uh,
boy.
yeah, the aim of my book is to help individuals, especially women,
Yes.
recognize red flags in their association with others
Yes.
in order to protect themselves from potential abuse, which is basically, my life story, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I just thought, what, put it in a book and help people with it, because a lot of people, need that guidance to be able to live a better and healthier life.
Yes. No, I applaud you for that. And I really appreciate your, I mean, courage. When we talk about, especially with the summit, this is all about, top experts on clarity, courage, and confidence, revealing, strategies, to feel worthy and realize your dream. And literally, you're like the poster child of this. No, truly, because you have that experience. Your self-esteem and your heart really took a beating in
Mhm.
terms of, how dare you walk away from a toxic relationship? How dare you think that your feelings are more valuable than someone else's, right? Don't you
Mhm.
know what is expected of you?
Of
And
you,
I talk
exactly.
about this, yes, I talk about this whole idea of that weight that many women, I won't say all women, everyone is different, but there's a large swath, right, globally of women who experience this pain and experience this pressure of upholding the expectations of others. And from what you've shared so far, this, falls right in line. So it's like, okay, what do I do now? Okay, you're like,
Mhm.
okay, I need a clean break. I need a fresh start. I have a lot of life to live. I have so much to give and to contribute in a positive way. It's one thing when you're giving and it's like, in lieu of like you're giving and you're losing vitality. But it's
Mhm.
another when you step up and step into your power where you're thinking, okay, how can I use what it is I have where I'm at right now in
Mhm.
order to be of service
To
to
others,
other women who might need a little
benefit.
light at the end of the tunnel? And I'm like, over here, like you're holding it, like over here.
Yeah.
So I love, your generosity and your spirit of, community and contribution. And this is absolutely beautiful. So you chose for this particular book to talk about narcissism.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
She's like, yep.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, I did,
So
Rachel. So,
yeah. So basically, coming from Nigeria, I was coming here to get a fresh start because of what I had gone through there. Going through a draining divorce and all that, and then I didn't realize that on getting here, I was going to face some cultural shocks, and I also came during the period that the pandemic hit.
oh
So
boy.
not only was I not able to meet other people, I was
Yes.
also now stuck within a community that I didn't realize was not good for me. Of course,
Yes.
a year or two after, I would then realize
Yes.
everything that was happening. And then that's why I actually put in the book. So I was coming from one, and then I came
From
here.
frying pan into the
Yeah,
fire.
yeah, that's what we
Okay.
say in Nigeria. So I was
Yes.
coming from one, and then I came into another. And I think what that did for me was that was it for me. I was like, you know what, enough is enough. I
Yes.
need to stop sitting down and taking, this kind of energy. Energy, they
Yes.
say, is contagious.
Of
And
course.
Rachel, there's a quote that says, you become what you surround yourself with. So we have to learn to choose the people that we give our energy to. So at
Yes.
that point, I was like, you know what, I'm done with, always giving, because I'm an empathic person, which
Mhm.
means I forgive easily.
Oh,
I
bless you.
I sympathize with people a lot, and people tend to take, those good qualities and tend to use it against you. Sometimes it can be a double-sided, sword. Some people tend
Yes.
to, yeah, and that has been the journey. And then so that is why, what you're doing with the summit really resonates with me, because we as women, we have to learn to protect ourselves, We
Yes.
have to learn to set healthy boundaries. We have to
Yes.
learn to choose who we decide to share our energy with.
Absolutely. And I know later on, you will be sharing some practical tips, or like one really hot tip on how to protect your energy and choose you, right? Say yes to yourself and honor yourself as a whole and complete being, that you have value and that you matter. And there are practices you can implement in your life, like right away, to be able to remember who you are and to activate your power in a way that, there's no selfishness involved. It's not about, there's no shame, there's no shade. It is about, when we have a full cup, we're better positioned to really be of service to others in a way where we're not begrudging, we don't feel tapped out, we're doing it in the spirit of generosity that is sustainable, right? Because we're not putting someone else or something else above us, because then the giving becomes selfish. Like now we're giving and, that's a whole other conversation. But, in this respect, I would also invite you to dig a little deeper into what exactly is narcissism, because, we hear the term, it seems to be very prevalent right now in the world. Are you a narcissist? Take this quiz. Like there's so many, like what exactly what was that experience specifically for you that you're like, oh my God, like enough for it to be a book? Speak to that, please, if you will.
So basically, a narcissist it's basically what we're still talking about. Like you said, we always have to remember to not only point to others, but also point to ourselves. And, as women, we are nurturers, and sometimes we tend to put everyone else before ourselves, But so going back to, how did I get into it? It's all because, like I said, I'm an empathic person, and then people tend to see that as an advantage to them, and
they might read it as a weakness that they can take
they
advantage
read
of.
it as a weakness, and then they tend to now use it against you. So in my case, this person saw me, and thought that I was the best person to use for their own selfish interest. So without knowing, I was being used to manipulate people. I was being used to monitor, and so before I wrote the book, I remember thinking I was I was like, what kind of personality is this? Because I'd never come across such personality before. And I'm a very inquisitive person. So I started, so if I don't know something and it's in my face, I go to research about it. So I started doing a lot of research. And then what kept coming up was narcissism. I put in all the characteristics that this person was displaying, and narcissism kept coming up. And I kept reading more and more about it. And because I kept reading more and more about it, I was now able to understand this person more. And I was seeing tips of how I could actually deal with this, handle this person. You don't confront them. But before then, I'd already done all that, before then I had confronted, but not only did I do some wrong things, I also did some right things, but I didn't know it was it was just my natural reaction to what was happening, and then it was when I had to completely remove myself from the situation that I was not able to connect the dots. And when I did, and I realized the larger spectrum, what was really happening, I was like, okay, I can't be the only one that knows about this. I can't be the only one, I can't go through this and nobody else learns from this. So that's really what motivated me to be like, you know what, I need to put this in the book. And then also reflecting back to my life back home before even coming to Canada, I realized that there's a lot of situations that I had been in one time or the other that this personality, was present, so it makes things clearer for you. You're able to like, okay, so I just thought, put it in a book. The people that read the book, when they see this, because the behaviors are very subtle, right? When they see, they're able to protect themselves. People
and not blame themselves or think, is it me? I did,
That's who they are, but we tend to always show a blind eye we tend to, show a blind eye to what they say, because in my case, I was new in Canada. I didn't know anybody. I needed people to guide me. The pandemic hit. I was already with this group of people.
You're vulnerable.
And yeah, they seemed to have been, it seemed as if they were guiding me. Some of them were, some of them were not, but in other people's situation, it could be that, maybe the person is saying they love them. The narcissism it's manifests in different forms. It manifests in the workplace, in our personal relationships, so we need to be able to identify it so that when we see it happening, we are able to, know that, okay, this person is trying to manipulate me, and then protect ourselves against it, because I feel I can't go through it, and then other people go through it without knowing, even though they say experience is the best teacher, but you could also learn about certain things before it happens to you.
Yeah.
So
I love that. Thank you so much. It's true. Like, some people are like, okay, I fell in the hole. Now it's your turn to go and fall in the hole. It's like, no, I mean, if you don't listen to it, you can't say that the information was not available, right? Like, at least you're giving people an opportunity to educate themselves, an opportunity to get curious about their own circumstances. And if, fine and good, if you're fine where you are, then so be it. This is not about judging anyone or pushing anything on anyone. It's more, this is my story. This is my experience. This is what I uncovered, right, in my research, in wanting to, take my life to a deeper, healthier place. And I'm willing to share. I'm willing to be, that's another level of vulnerability you went into, right?
So, I mean, in regaining my self-worth, I've had to basically set rules, that tell others how to treat me, so basically when you do that, you are saying, you're telling people how to relate with you.
Yes, you're training people on how to treat you.
People. Yeah, you said, because at the end of the day, when you realize that, when you do a lot of self-reflection and you realize your self-worth, it comes with confidence.
So how did you realize your self-worth, Marian? Like you woke up one day and you're like, you know what? I'm all that. Like, I'm she's like, what happened? Right? Like, how did you connect? Because this is really powerful. You're saying, I connected to my self-worth. What is that founded in for you? I've heard different answers, but was this within yourself? Was this a knowing? Tell us your secret.
So when everything was happening to me, and basically, I will tell you the truth, I was shattered. And this is the time where you need to, how we say energy is contagious. You need to surround yourself with the right people. There were certain people in my life that stepped up and, were giving me the right affirmations that I needed. I would also say that therapy also helped.
Therapy, big one.
The thing with therapy is that people think that you just go to therapy and then you just do what you just wait for the therapist to tell you everything. You need to take that as a guide and continue building your self-worth, right?
To be engaged in your own healing is what I'm hearing.
Exactly. You need to, what is healing for you? You need to decide what healing is for you. So I basically had to, do that, and that was how I was now able to start discovering my self-worth. And I'm like, you know what,
I'm so inspired. Sorry. Like, I'm listening to you and I'm like bouncing in my seat. Go on. I hope you're I
was like, there's certain things I'm no longer going to take from people, just to share some, like, for instance, one of the things that women do a lot is that we doubt ourselves a lot. We doubt ourselves. We don't give ourselves enough credit. So I would say, what I would say to any woman that's watching this is, please never compare yourself to anyone. What I did in my own case was that I made sure that whatever I was doing it at my own pace. I see a lot of people compete. So they're trying to do stuff even if they can't, because, they want to meet up to society. They want to
They're keeping up with the Joneses, like this
tend to do things at your own pace, at the pace that's comfortable for you. Your self-worth is not derived from meeting the standards that society sets for you. Is derived from how you feel fulfilled in your career or your standard of living. So at the end of the day, it all comes back to you. I saw a quote recently that said, you are the CEO of your life. Yes. Hire, fire, and promote accordingly. I love that quote.
Hire, fire, and promote accordingly. You're the CEO of your life.
So whoever you think is not working for you, fire. Whoever you think is working for you, go towards hire. Whoever you think, has been pouring into your cup, promotes.
Absolutely.
Right? And what this means to me, is, it has really helped me define myself. It's helped me ask myself questions like, what makes me happy? What are the things that make me happy? Who are the people that make me happy? Yes. So then I start to do those things that make me happy and surround myself around women that makes me happy. And I start pursuing initiatives that makes me happy. And I found out that, telling my story and helping other women really fulfills me. It really helps me. Even so, going back to my career is the kind of career that helps the clients realize their dream. So helping you realize something that you want. And then I call myself a self-help author, because my book is self-help. And when I was growing up, I read a lot of self-help books. So being able to write something that helps influence people, I help them come out of the roles that society has put us, and define ourselves. That fulfills me and that makes me happy,
Congratulations.
Just to add, as women, we need to learn to believe in ourselves more, because when we do, we're opening a new world of exploration and possibility, to ourselves. A typical example is we need to learn to be more confident in ourselves. So when a man, I'm going to use the job interview for an example, right?
Yes.
When a man sees a job description and he really wants it, and he looks through, let's say there's 6 points. If only 3 or 2 of the points match his skills, he still applies for it. Yes. In the case of a woman, she could have like 6 to 7 points, that match her work skills, and she will still doubt, like, what if they don't call me back? What if they don't? How about apply for it first and wait? And if they don't call you back, look at your CV and say, what could I have done better? What could I have? So we do a lot of self-doubt, and that was one of the things that I really worked on. We do a lot of self-doubt. We really need to stop doubting ourselves and put ourselves.
And that comes back to the worthiness conversation, right? As you rightly, pointed out, if, not all men, but I would say, like, if we're doing like a blanket, yes, they will see it. If there's something in that they have such a level of like audacity that it's like, you're like, where, you're like, what, did I miss something? Like, why does he think, why is he here? You know what I mean? Like, why you're so not qualified for the job, but in their mind, they're probably thinking, well, I wanted the job, so I went for it.
I went to get it.
It's not about whether or not they're qualified for it. Like, they'll try. What's the worst that can happen? They'll say no, but it's that sense of like having that audacity, right, to go for what you want because it makes you happy. Right. And this reminds me of another conversation in the summit where another expert was sharing, and she was a master sex coach, and she was saying the same thing about the audacity of many heteronormative men, where, they take their pleasure no matter what. Like, they're not waiting for a partner or for you to be like, they handle their business no matter what, because it's what they want. They're not trying to get permission. While she noted that, with women, they're waiting for a partner to legitimize, the experience. And this is exactly like, this reminds me of exactly what you're sharing here
Yeah.
with career, right? There's something you want, go for it. If you don't get a call, I would even invite you to call them, right? Call them, get an update. If they went in a different direction, they did not choose you, then ask for feedback. Would they be willing to give you feedback as to what, you can
What
do,
they were looking
what they were looking for,
and
what recommendation, right? This is your area
so
of
you learn, don't always
yeah,
see it
don't
as
give
a
up.
defeat. You learn from it and add it to your world of knowledge and move on. And
Exactly.
then even in some situations, if opportunities are not open for you, you create those opportunities for yourself.
Beautiful. Are you hearing this? Like, I hope honestly, I hope we're all hearing this, because I'm going to come back and I'm going to rewatch this in, this conversation, and I'm going to start taking notes, because you're dropping some nuggets, some gems that just seem like, oh, common sense. But these are things that we,
don't know.
might either don't know or might not even consider. They're like, what?
Yeah.
Call them back and ask, like, can I do that? Like, wouldn't I be infringing on their time? I mean, they're busy and they don't want anything to do with me because clearly they didn't offer me the job. So why would I be like, this inner conversation? Is this
within
like familiar
ourselves
to you? Like that we get into this like thing, this circle around in our thoughts. And then we think our way out of the conversation. We think our way out of an opportunity. We think our way, away from a goal that we really would want, that we desire, all because we don't think we're qualified enough, right?
Yeah.
You talk about, the Nigerian background. I mean, how many degrees does the average educated Nigerian person? It's like layers and layers, and in order to, you have a doctorate in this and a master's in this and a, in order to be enough in the world. And also because we have that, insatiable curiosity to learn. So the message I'm hearing you share is that you have value and you are worthy and you are enough.
And you need to discover that value.
And you get to discover that value for yourself so that you can claim it and then go out into the world and
say, this is me.
Yes, unapologetically.
Yep.
Yeah, that is so amazing. Well, kudos to you. I mean, you have come, it's been quite a journey of, coming to your own and establishing and experiencing your own autonomy, right? Becoming an author. It wasn't as if, you came in like, you know what, I'm going to write a book, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You were a reader. And then you're like, based on what I've experienced, I am going to share, and this is the medium I'm going to use, and this is what I'm going to do. And then beyond the book, in your day-to-day, you created the consulting, business, marketing, communications, where now you support other people in realizing their dreams and putting languaging around it and building a brand around it and having a presence in the world. Like, it's just, see, powerhouse.
If I could touch a bit on, creating my own business. So one of the reasons why I did that was because, I realized that I put out, people see me and they see my vulnerabilities and they don't see everything else that I have to offer. Yeah. So I thought, you know what, if I start I have this knowledge of experience. I'm pretty good at what I do.
You're very good at what you do.
I've handled some international clients.
Don't start being coy with me at this stage. You know who you are. It's exactly. Like, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. You rock. Like, you're amazing at what you do.
Not to be too proud.
Oh, please. Pride.
So, I've had some clients that, have said pretty good things about, me handling their business and their account.
Don't worry, we're going to talk after.
Yeah. And then I go to these organizations, and because of the hierarchy and all that, that goes on in the organization, especially in the marketing communication field, is a very competitive and cut-edge industry. You find out that people don't care what they do to you. People don't care. People just want to.
It's not personal. It's not personal.
It's not personal. People just they don't care how they climb up. They just they just, everybody just want to use you to climb up to get to where they want to be. And that's like one of the things that you're promoting that causes a lot of burnout and self-doubt, because you're
Yes,
doing the right thing. Your boss is telling you that you're doing the wrong thing. Let me give you an example. I once did a plan a couple of years ago. I once did a plan, and this plan was fantastic. And I sent a plan to my supervisor or whoever, to say, okay, look at it before we send out to the client. She said in these words, the plan was absolutely rubbish. And then she sent it out, like, let's say 30 minutes or an hour after, without removing anything and just adding 2 connecting slides. So I was confused. I said, if the plan was absolutely rubbish, why are we still sending it to the clients?
Yes.
I had clients that would say that if I leave the organization, they're leaving too.
Yeah, they're taking their account elsewhere.
They're taking their account out.
Yeah.
So you don't realize you're valuable until things like that come up, because that system is programmed to, just make you not tell you your true value, because they just want to keep using and using you. So by the time I came to this country, I was like, and then I've had some good experience with employers. I've had some bad experience with employers too. I was like, what, I can't, and it all goes back to where you put your energy.
Yes.
So I said, I'm not going to put my energy in a workplace that doesn't protect the woman.
Yes.
Because you walk into it's getting to one of the next points, like, you go into somewhere and somebody's emotionally stealing your intellectual property.
It happens. Oh my goodness, please. Intellectual theft. It happens so much. But we're just grateful for the opportunity. So we don't, like, we notice it, but we're like, So this is,
we have to set physical boundaries. We have to set intellectual boundaries, emotional boundaries. It's a whole lot. That was basically one of the reasons why I said, what, I can't deal. I need to be able to start my own, and part of my self-worth and self-reflection is I know my skills and my quality. I know what I'm worth. So I need to be able to go and get my own clients and set my rules with them, and then I can control how I am being treated. I mean, in some cases, some people might not be able to do that. Some people might not be able to do that, but if there's anything that I'm going to leave with, tell, women and young women.
One practical piece of advice, practice a step. Yes.
If there's one practical advice, is that in every situation, you need to set healthy boundaries. Discovering yourself might mean that you need to set healthy boundaries. I'm telling you, the moment boundaries I started doing this, oh my God, the moment I started doing this, I started not having this burnout, because I'm not trying to please you. I'm not trying to, and setting boundaries can be physical. It can be setting personal boundaries with your space. It can be your privacy. It can be your body, as you mentioned. If you're someone that doesn't feel comfortable with public affection, you should be able to tell your spouse or whoever that, what, I don't feel comfortable with this. If you're someone that wants that physical, public hand holding and all that, you should tell them, and they should be able to reciprocate that. But you have to set boundaries physically. You need to set boundaries intellectually, like we just talked about. Intellectual boundaries can be like, you give an idea in the workplace. Not all of us are going to work for ourselves, or at least, I've gotten to a level where I can decide to work for myself. But for the younger ones that still have to go into the workplace and learn all these skills, you need to be able to set intellectual boundaries where, a colleague can minimize your idea or opinion. You either right there, tell the person to not do that, or you go to meet the person in private and you say that, what, I don't appreciate you, not respecting dismissing my ideas or opinion. We need to always pick up when people do it and respond as it is.
I really advocate for immediately shut it down. Don't give it any room to breathe, because it'll flourish like a flame. If you take me on publicly, I will
Mm-hmm.
shut it down public. Like there's no like behind closed door. I will not do that. Not unless you are my parent and
Mm-hmm.
I will give you fair warning. The next time you do that, I will shut you down.
Even
Yeah.
if you are the parent, you can, like I said, if you can't talk back to the person immediately because of maybe
Yes.
who is around, you need to be able to go back to that person and
Yes.
say,
Revisit it.
this, maybe we shouldn't have done this like this. Maybe we shouldn't,
Mhm.
maybe don't dismiss my ideas immediately
Yes.
because I don't like, you need to be able to, boundaries could be, it could also be, boundaries could also be emotional, and it could
Yes.
also be financial. And I know you
Yes.
might be a little bit confused, or what does she mean setting boundaries financially?
Oh, no,
Let
no,
me
no. Go into it. This is very
let me give
important.
you let me
Ooh,
give you another
yes.
example. So if a friend and a longtime colleague of mine, needed some money for something and asked me 5 months ago to loan them the money. I
Yes.
did lend them the money.
Yes.
So I said asking for my money the third month, the fourth month, and right now we're in the fifth
Fifth
month.
month.
And I even up to the extent to telling, the person that, what, I need to send some money back home to my mom, because of the festivities. So I really, really need this money. You know what the person told me? The person told me to tell my mom to wait.
Oh,
Yeah. So this
are
is
they
why you
still a
need,
friend?
yeah.
Okay.
So this is why you need to set boundaries even financially. Someone
Yes.
once told me that if someone asks you for something and you can't give the person the amount that you can let go. So if you
Yes.
can't, if the
I
person
stand
asks,
behind that.
if the person
Yeah.
asks for $100, if you know you can let go of $20 and not refund, the person doesn't need to refund you. Say, you know what, I don't have $100 to give. That doesn't mean you don't have $100. You don't have $100
No,
to give.
to give.
Yeah, you don't
Yes.
have
I
a hundred
love that
dollars to give.
distinction.
Yeah,
You. I
and
don't have $100 to give
to
you.
give, but I'm going to contribute $20 to it. Always give them,
Yes.
what you know that if they don't, I tell them you don't have to return it. You don't. This person said they're going to return the money back to me the following month. It's been 5 months,
Yes.
so
Yes. No,
you need to
I
set
totally hear
boundaries.
that. So I love, this is very practical, clear, healthy, solid boundaries that you are being committed to, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're committed to upholding this and holding yourself high and holding the other person high as well, right? If you know someone is notorious for borrowing money and not returning it, then perhaps that's not where your investment goes, right? Because you know it might create a drama and you saw it coming, yet you still went along with it. So, discernment, be wise about how you, conduct yourself. And this all goes to reinforcing, your worth and your value, money that you worked hard for to earn. And, beyond money, as you mentioned, emotional, physical, all kinds of intellectual, right? And this is where that becoming bold and feeling seen. If you have an idea, and you share it, be sure not only to have shared it with your supervisor. I will go and I will share so everyone knows where that idea came from. So if
Mm-hmm.
in a meeting where you haven't been invited into, the idea should go, people will be like, that sounds so, doesn't that sound like Marianne's idea?
Yeah.
Like what, Marianne? Yeah, she was just telling me about that the other day. Was it, I call it that movie Working Girl, that working girl elevator moment between like Sigourney Weaver and if you haven't seen it, look it up. It's one of the most epic moments of intellectual property theft being revealed in the most dramatic, like empowering and satisfying way, where like a secretary's boss was like stealing her ideas and
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't able to
Defend
explain
herself.
where she got the idea from. And then they asked the secretary and the secretary was able to go, and I thought of this and and they were like,
Oh my God, that's where the
right,
original idea came from.
right, because the boss had no work product.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, no, I just thought of it. Yeah, but what inspired it? She wasn't able to, So this was an example of, a woman who had no voice, right? And had given away her power, right? And through, diligently what you shared, following the clues and leaning in with curiosity, finally saying, what, building up the confidence of, what, I can do, like, I've been doing all of this. No,
Yeah,
really, I'm capable. Like,
I'm capable of doing
I've
it
got this,
myself.
right? I can do it, and I can even take it to the next level, and I can be a boss, right? And so this is the journey that I really, and I believe we are all inviting each and every one of us into taking and considering for ourselves that you're more powerful than you think. And whatever dreams or desires you have can be realized. Once you tap into that clarity of purpose, and your confidence and also the courage to go for it. So on that vein, I would like to thank you, Marianne, for being with us today.
Thank you so
Congratulations
much.
on your book, #1 bestselling author. Woo! And just your persistence and your diligence and your commitment to yourself and to your community, and just being an ambassador of what it means to be not only resilient but inspiring. So I applaud you, and I thank you for being with us on the Supreme Leadership Summit, and look forward to many more conversations.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank
hosting.
you. Until next time, we'll see you on the next episode. Bye for
Bye.
now.